In 2025, Nigeria's education crisis was no longer just about access. It was about safety, relevance, equity, and trust. Until security funding, teacher welfare, curriculum reform move together, education may remain arguably Nigeria's greatest missed opportunity. But because we don't want that to happen, Dr. Tunji Alausai joins us this evening. He's in the studio with us. He's the Minister of Education. Thanks for joining us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Well, first of all, let me ask you, a question that, I don't know, quite a number of discomforting happenings, particularly in the education sector with the mass abductions and all of those things. How did that make you feel as someone who administers education in Nigeria?
Thank you. I'll get to that question in a minute. But let me begin with Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu saying that education must work again for every child and not just for some. And again, the directive that Mr. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has given us, myself and the Honorable Minister of State for Education, that every single child in this country deserves the highest quality of education that is comparable to anywhere in the world. And that's what we've done with our Nigeria Education Sector Renewal Initiative, targeting and focused on moving Nigeria from a resource-based economy to a knowledge-based economy. Before I'll come back to your question, and I'll come back to my own constituency of education. But I want to talk about what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done in the past 30 months.
We'll definitely
and I'll
get
come
to
back.
it.
Just give me 1 minute, because I want to put things in perspective here. You started with school safety, which is very dear to our government heart and dear to our heart, myself and the Minister of State. But let's just put things in perspective. 30 months plus, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu campaigned heavily around the country and told Nigerians that I will take difficult decisions. I won't lie to you. I will take decisions based on the future of your child and your grandchildren. And that's what this president has done in the past 30 months. And we've seen significant improvement all across the sectors of our economy. Fuel subsidies gone. We have plentiful PMS, plentiful supply of PMS in our stations. Foreign exchange liberalization. We've seen expansive economic activity. Inflation is coming down, has been coming down month over month, and we have more extensive infrastructure development across the country. We have more prices of food are coming down. Prices of food, they're coming down as well, and they continue to come down. And Mr. President told the nation that your children will be in school. 2 academic sessions. We have not had any strike in a tertiary institution. These are not by coincidence. These are direct efforts of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. And now let me come back to my own terrain, education. Now, about the school children adoption. This should not be happening. When bad people, bad element in a society targets the most vulnerable section of our country, most vulnerable people, children, female. These are bad people, and we have to treat them as terrorists, as bandits. And that's what Mr. President just said. Every single of this group will be treated as terrorists, and they will be dealt with within the rule of our constitutional mandate. And that you've seen renewed effort now, in which coordinated security interventions all across the country. You just heard some news just today. How many people have been arrested, ammunition impounded. We now have renewed focus on improving security in our country. And now, when they abducted these children from school, we did the right thing. We closed some of the schools, but within a few weeks, our children are back in school. All those schools have been reopened. And not just when those schools were closed, we continued with giving these kids education. We deployed technology using our online schooling system, using a learning passport, our Ignite system, and an Inspire system. We continue to deliver education to these children, to the states that were affected. by the closures and by the closures of schools. So there were no missed opportunities in our children continue to learn. Okay. And beyond that, we also focus on providing psychosocial support and mental health counseling to all these affected schools. We moved very swiftly. This is what Renewed Hope agenda with regards to education is all about.
Well, Dr. Lausa, you started right by saying it shouldn't happen.
Yes.
So it raises questions on the minds of a good number of people saying, look, about 10 years ago, this whole conversation about safe school initiatives began. Is there an update that Nigerians are not aware of about that one?
Yes. I'll give you several updates here. There's a financing safe school initiative that was put together several years ago, with the funds being domiciled at the Federal Ministry of Federal Ministry of Finance. We've worked closely with them. We at the Federal Ministry of Education, we've worked closely with them. And things happen, but for 20-something months, there were no abductions in any of our schools. But please, let's just face the facts here. What happened in the past few weeks, there's some political inclination to it. There were coordinated attacks on the sanctity of our country. They want to embarrass this government. But people don't know President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. One thing the president detests the most is blackmail. The president took charge, and you've seen the significant improvement that has happened within the last 2 weeks. And I'll tell you, this will be sustained now and into the future.
So you're assuring us now from the president, from the ministry, we can be assured that as we enter into 2026, we shouldn't hear such things anymore.
I'll give that assurance, but within the ambit of our collaboration within the security architecture of the country. We're working the Department of the Military, the police, the Department of DSS, they're working in tandem. They've been working in tandem. They've worked so well, in fairness. Our DSS, they're very good. Their intelligence gathering is very robust. And I can tell you, they knew I was speaking when these things were happening. I was talking to the director, the DG of DSS, almost 4 or 5 times, almost 6 to 10 times a day. They had all the intelligence. But then, in a situation like this, when you have some saboteurs, but they knew everything. And that's very reassuring. All the attacks that happened in Kebbi, they gave the state governor ample time. The governor convened security meetings. They deployed to their schools, to that particular school. Military, police, but only God knows what happened later. So, and the other attacks that came after. And many attacks many more attacks were forward. So the security, the security system is working. They're doing their work. But I can assure you that we will continue to do everything humanly possible to prevent adoption of any of us children from school.
I think it is clearly heartbreaking to see our children being abducted. I don't think anybody wants to see that. But your promises are quite delicate because we're living in trying times. It's on record that this is the biggest abduction in the history of Nigeria. The Papri abduction is bigger than the Chibok abduction because we're talking about 300 children and students abducted in one fell swoop. We're grateful that they are all back. So it's beyond rhetorics, it's beyond, because this intelligence was there, especially in Kebbi, and there were withdrawals for reasons we don't know and we've not had answers to. So the question now is, 2 things. First, what are the strategic things being done to make sure it doesn't happen again? And I can tell you for free, if the federal government wants to do it alone, they will fail. At least we've seen that practically. So what, in collaboration with states, is the federal government going to do to make sure this doesn't happen again?
We've had intense collaboration with our subnational government, and that's one of the way we've worked. Now, we have the Central Command and Control Center of our Safe School Strategy, domicile at the Nigeria Civil Defense Center, with schools that are connected. We've had a total review of that architecture. What we're now doing is that we're moving all schools in the country onto that platform. They're being geofenced onto that platform so that we know what's happening in every of those schools. We have the command and control centers already. And what we've also now collaborating more with the subnational government. We've reactivated the police. I've just written a letter to the Inspector General to give us the names of the police in charge of their safe school initiative in each of the states, in each of the local government. We'll plug that onto a big database that we're building now. We're building the database, and we now have robust technology to ensure that we have better monitoring processes in place. So with that, this was a wake-up call, but I'm glad all those children are back, and they will be back in school when school reopens around January 6th. But we've really rejigged the technology platform that we're using. And as I told you, we're moving all those schools. We won't wait for the school. Previously, we're waiting for schools to reach out to us and enroll. But what we're doing is that we have the data of all public schools, private schools. We're moving them onto our platform now, all geotagged and with monitoring devices. And we also have the Nigerian Space Research and Development Agency, that we can look at all these schools in space.
For context, Minister, are you saying that with a dashboard, the federal government can see every school?
Yes.
Is that the explanation you're giving?
That's what I'm telling you.
So that we contextualize your references.
Yes.
We don't misquoting you.
Yes, we can see, we have all this data already, but we're now aggregating and putting it on a centralized data dashboard that we can see and we can monitor.
That's very impressive, Honorable Minister. I have to say that. You know, I know that the only that I know agency now is the NNPC, where they, monitor oil theft and all of that. And if you go to their control room, you see that. So that's really impressive, and we really do hope, that it will be effective, and have the impact. But safety, of course, is number one. The other thing is cost. Now, when we look at the data of the multidimensionally poor in Nigeria, we saw that it increased this year. And one of the things that led to that increase is education. And that's because it does seem like it's now a norm for parents to think of private school, from the nursery to the primary to the secondary. It will really take off a lot of burden from parents and reduce the number of those who are going into the poverty bracket. If we can have public schools that parents can actually trust their children with, do you have that? I know you're very active, and we see you in the news. We see and hear that every time. But do you have that as your focus so that more parents can have more trust in the quality of education in the public sector, and that will reduce their cost of living? Yeah,
that's changing, though, and that's changing very quickly. That's what I told you. There are 6 high priority areas, and I'll quickly go through it so I can zero into your question. Number 1, our expansive agenda to technical and vocational education and training. Science and technology. Number 2, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and medical sciences. Number 3, data and digitalization. Number 4, quality assurance. The quality assurance, the kind of education we give our children, and the quality of teachers that are teaching our children. And number 5, our expansive agenda to really focus, get more girls in school, girl child education, and number 6, reducing our marginal and out-of-school children. Now, to say, what are we doing in improving quality of education where parents will now trust? Now, I'll give you an example. People go to the universities now. More students are leaving private school to come to public universities, and we'll fix that one.
Not because it's too expensive.
Not because it's too expensive.
They don't have a choice.
Not because they don't have a choice. They were going to private school before. Now
that's what I'm saying. Maybe because it's become so expensive, they're just taking an alternative.
No, not that. We fix the student closure. Universities, tertiary institutions are open now to consecutive academic sessions, and we will keep them open. This is what President Bola Ahmed Tinubu promised Nigerians. Strike will be all over. Strike will be gone in from our public school, and that's gone forever. We're doing the right thing to address our academic and non-academic staff issue. Now, let me call these are things we inherited, but then, like what President said, he canvassed for this job. It takes all the assets and liabilities, and that's what we're doing. Now, we haven't funded our foundational education well, primary, junior secondary school, and secondary school. But we now have a renewed vigor in doing that. Going to UBEC. UBEC, a University of Basic Education, is collaborating better more intently and directionally and in a more focused manner with a SUBEB, State Universal Basic Education. We've rearranged the way their matching grant can be spent. They can spend more money in rehabbing school, putting wash facility, rehabilitation of our schools, putting wash facility, solar, putting ICTs in school, ICT centers in school. And if you go now, we've rehabilitated over 10,000 primary and junior secondary schools in the last 24 months. We've rebuilt several. We're building new schools. If you follow our agile, what we're doing with girl child education, with our $1.2 billion World Bank credit, we've moved almost over 1 million girls into school in over 18 states. Building new classrooms, building new schools. You just saw me visited Borno State Borno State recently, just a few weeks ago. Look at the kind of school we built, the Governor Zulum built, and that's the kind of school we're building all over these 18 states. And
how many
beyond
have you
that,
built so far?
oh, I can tell you
states? So
in 18 states.
Okay.
18 states, but we've expanded.
18 states is the target, or you've already built in 18 states?
We've built, let me tell you the way they started. We started with 7, those are the 7 original states. We added 11 more states. The 7 states, we've built so many, and we've rehab thousands of schools. We're building brand new and rehabilitating thousands of schools as well. The 11 states have started rehabilitations, and we're building more. The 3 additional states haven't started anything yet. We've just gotten their financing together. Just the final approval is just been granted a few weeks ago. So we're very decisive. We're very directional in the way we're focusing at the base level, at a foundational education. And more so, it's not about putting infrastructures in place alone. We're also retraining our teachers. What we've now done with retraining our teachers, we've moved their training, their professional development in digitally. They now just go online, get their teacher professional development done, and we pay them. After they've completed one module, they will take short quizzes. Once they pass, we will pay them, we will incentivize them for doing that. And also, we're also focusing on improving their welfare, acknowledging their efforts, and better coordination with at the federal ministry and the state level. We're deploying resources to them in terms of capacity building.
Do the resources also include, if you say you're doing it digital, we know internet access is a major one, electricity is a major one in Nigeria.
Very good. And these are processes that have been all taught to. We're using zero-rated data. We're piloting about 7 states now. With Airtel, the teachers will get the data for free. And what we're going to be deploying in the new year is what's called ISP, Internet Exchange Point. We're building our own Federal Ministry of Education center where this teacher, all these EdTech things will be loaded there. All this TPD content, digital content will be loaded. Teachers will just log in for free. And that's even delivering online classes from primary 1 to primary 6, JSS 1 to JSS 3, and SS 1 to SS 3. Live lessons are being delivered now, and these are all to zero-rated data. Nobody will pay, give me one second, they won't be paying anything, it will be free. And what also we're doing, we've deployed smart boards to several of our primary schools, junior secondary schools, and senior secondary schools as well. We're using technology, we're using AI as well to enhance the quality of education we're giving our children. I'll tell you, this government doesn't joke with education. Well, education is the bedrock. Yeah. Give me one second. Education is the bedrock of any society, and that's what we're doing. We will move our country from resource-based to a knowledge-based economy. And we're very lucky as Nigerians. It's in our DNA. We're smart people. So all we now need to do is to give our citizens the opportunity, the access to get quality education.
Now that you mentioned all this, wherever I go, whichever states I go to now, I'm going to pay attention to all the things you've claimed to see how well it's been put together. But where I'm going to before my colleague Ayo comes in, because they sound very great. And they sound quite futuristic, but I'm talking about...
I'm telling you, it's not futuristic. These are things happening now. Please, yes. You can go fact check me.
So,
they're happening now. They're not futuristic.
You talked about costs. I know that your spending limit year on year, last year was about 3.2.
Last year they had good budgets.
No, 3.2.
They had, yeah,
they still have
3.5. That was one of the
trillion.
highest.
That's
Yeah?
6.4.
Yes.
Yeah, they
That's
had a
about
good budget
Yes.
in
So
2025.
6.4 trillion. I don't like to run with how much was earmarked. I'm always interested in how much releases were made. So how much releases were made, and how can you tell us how that was appropriated?
Okay, thank you. You know, we're very kind. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu believes fervently and benevolently in education and also human capital development, education, health, social protection, in addition to the other things he's doing in the on other sectors of the economy. Year over year, last year we got a 2024-5, we had the third highest budgetary allocation of all the various MDAs. But then, in the last 2 years, we've had the highest budgetary allocation to education ever in the history of our country. Now, how are we using those funds? I'll tell you, Tvet fund is there. What we've done this 2025, all the direct intervention for all the tertiary institutions, we mandated them to use those funds on five things. Not to build new buildings, not to build Senate building. They should build rehab student hostels, rehab classrooms, engineering workshops, lecture theaters, and faculty offices. And if you go to our tertiary institutions, those are being done right. You'll see a lot of that being done right now. Now, we also dedicated 100 billion naira to rehab 18 medical schools, 3 in each geopolitical zones, so that we can we're doubling admission into medicine, pharmacy, and dentistry. For nursing, we've made great stride. Before we came in as a government, we're only enrolling 28,000 nurses annually. Today, we're enrolling over 150,000 nurses annually. You heard the cries, the woes and cries you heard about Japa. It's all tamed down now. It just didn't happen. That didn't just happen because, it just disappeared. Our strategy was, we have a youthful population, we have people that want to learn, let's create access for them, and let's use a number to saturate the system. That's what we've done with nursing now, and we're going to continue to do that with medicines and other areas, medicine, dentistry, and pharmacy. Now, we've done that, those direct intervention to medical schools. In 2026, what we will be doing, we'll be doing the same thing to our University of Technology. We will spend massively. Each of those federal universities of technology will get about 4 to 6 billion naira to re-upgrade their engineering workshops so that we can deliver modern day training to our students in areas that matters the most.
Talk us through nursery. Now, the reason I'm asking about nursery is, number one, for sustainability. I've taken a look at the Nigeria's education policy a few times, maybe before this government, but each time I look at it, I'm looking for the future. I couldn't find. Now, looking at this, and I'm being honest, I'm wondering, okay, so what are the things in this document that is showing that, okay, we're going somewhere? But this program, talk us through nursery.
Let me talk you through nursery. And this, I'll tell you, let's give credit to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Once everything he does is based on sustainability. Government is a continuum. Now, with the nursery program, I told you, Tvet, just keep this slide on, Tvet. This is just not futuristic. This is what's happening. We started this. President said, I will fund it for you. And he funded it with 5% of Tvet fund budget. We had almost 100 billion this year. It's all secured. When we opened the portal, within 10 days, we had to close it. 1.3 million Nigerians applied. We verified those Nigerians. With their BVN, we cross-checked their BVN and their NIN. We have 960 were ascertained. Today, I can gleefully and proudly tell you the first cohort of 250,000 students are being onboarded. Over 100,000 students are being trained in over 1,600 skill training centers across the nation. Those students, there are 4 parts to it. Those students are being paid to go through this relevant trade in areas of fashion and garment making, computer network, GSM, computer networking, livestock and animal husbandry, solar photovoltaic installation and maintenance, plumbing, tiling and electrical work with other relevant trades. Those students, each student, they've gotten there. You can fact check me. They're getting 22,000 to about 22,500 naira every month, and we're unleashing a different kind of spending into the private sector. Those schools are being paid 45,000 naira per student. So figure out, if you're training 300 students now, if you have a skilled training center, then you're training 300 students, you will get about 13 million a month. In a year, that translates to almost 130 million.
That's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of, because we want, and that's the sustainability part of it.
Exactly.
We want to move this out of government. We want private sector. We want this skill training center to have now a lot of money, to be able to improve on the infrastructures, buy more engineers, build more functional, modern workshop to train these kids. I've been to these centers. I was very proud. The student, and the way we've done it, we've democratized it. People just went, they applied, and I asked so many of those students, how did you get here? We applied and we're here. It was like magic to them. But these students are being paid, and you can check.
When I asked Honorable Minister about the funding, I'm talking of the source of the funding for the students you're paying and maintaining those facilities.
And that's why I told the president, happily approved, for going forward now into eternity, 5% of Tech Fund will be dedicated to technical, vocational education and training.
What's the goal?
The goal is to now, and in fact, our first step, successful, phenomenally successful. We've done significant reawakening the interest of Nigerian youth in technical, vocational education and training. It was almost fading away from our education system. Now it's back front and center. And these students, they just want the opportunity. Somebody to give them the access, and that's what this President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has done. They're going in droves, and people that actually went to universities have been around. People who did political science, history, they're back. They're coming to train. And that's the way we want it.
And we have an open market for them.
And let me one more thing. Now, technical education is free. At all our federal technical colleges now, the only thing you need to do as a student, once you get admitted, just go with your clothes. Every single thing is free. You don't pay a dime. And one more second.
Yes.
And all across our federal technical colleges and several state technical colleges, free. And we've spent over 100 billion naira in the last 2 years to rehab, improve on this workshop. So you go to these schools,
where are
they
you,
have more than
my
workshops.
colleague is going with that question, and it's fundamental you give us a clear and measurable answer. What is the gap that was seen? Just hold on. What is the gap that? So, for instance, I'll give you an example. They say if you want the best styling, go to Togo. Those Togolese, is it Togo now? I think one of those francophone countries, I remember. If you want the best style, as at then, I don't know what it is now. Bring those guys into Nigeria, they are aligning, everything will be perfect. So, question is, what gap in vocational skill are we having? Give us two. And how are you feeling it in terms of critical mass? How many years should we be looking at to say, as far as this is concerned, don't go anywhere else? Nigeria is the destination of choice.
Good. It's something that's so obvious. Before, when you're building your house, the tilers, they all came from Togo or Cotonou. The electricians, you get them from somewhere. And more recently, when Mr. Aliko Dangote was opening his refinery, they needed technicians. They couldn't get enough Nigerians. They had to import technicians from India. It's very appalling. As a country of 220 million people, with 70% of that population below the age of 30 years, it's a disaster. Those were the gap we saw, and we knew we had to move quickly. And I can tell you, when we met with the president, the president directed us as part of his campaign promise and bringing technical and vocational education back as part of front and center of our educational system. Go design a program, whatever amount you need, I'll give you, I'll fund it. That's what we needed. We've gotten all the political will at the highest level in our country. And that's why we've moved quickly, and we did a gap analysis. We didn't just come with this, up with these 28 trades. There were trades, that were 98 trades across. With gap analysis, we got one of the best consulting firms in the world. We realized that these were the areas of gaps, and those were areas we're training. We're training to meet, give me 1 second, you asked a very critical question. We're training, not just to train people, to meet the gaps that were identified.
We need numbers. My apologies, Dr. Lausa. We need numbers. And then we need a goal. We need someone to... He just talked about Togolese. Please, tell me one corner you see in Nigeria now that you don't see one Chinese or the other. And, you know, then we've asked also about how we are decentralizing to the states, because this government will expire. When it does, what's the sustainability plan? We'll come to that when we return from this break. We'll come to it when we return from this break. Please stay with us. Thank you so much for staying with us. Dr. Tunji Alausa is still with us in the studio. He's the Minister of Education. Now, we're talking about, you know, technical and vocational education and all of that. Jeffrey is asking for numbers, and I'm asking for those numbers as well.
Yeah.
But speak to, it's all in with the mindset of sustainability. Hitherto, whenever there is an issue, an initiative of the federal government, the state governments are just waiting at the bus stop. So let's see how you guys are going to
You've asked 3 questions.
So that if we know, okay, these are the things to look forward to.
Good.
This is the time where we can say Nigeria will no longer be importing these skills.
Good. You've asked 3 very important and very germane questions. Numbers, which I'll give you, how the collaboration with our subnational government, and sustainability. Now, with numbers, we're targeting training about 1 million Nigerians in the next 2 to 3 years. And we've started with the first cohort of 250,000 Nigerian youths that we're training. 100,000 of them, of the first cohort, have already started their training. And these are in areas that are really critical trades in the country that we need. Because I told you before, we just didn't do this by just shooting dart in the dark. We did careful labor gap analysis commissioned by one of the best consulting firms in the world. We knew where the gaps were, and we're laser focusing our training to cover those gaps. So numbers, we're targeting 1 million citizens to be trained in these areas in the next 2 to 3 years. We've started with the first cohort of 250,000.
How many skills?
Oh, in 28 different skills. And I'll tell you, when we did, based on the application, I'll tell you, garment and fashion making was the number 1. And it's so interesting, the way things were in the southern part of the country. Garment and fashion making topped the numbers. And on the northern part of the country is livestock and animal husbandry. But the second closest to that was fashion and garment making. The number 3 thing was computer repair and GSI networking. Number 4 was solar photovoltaic installation and maintenance. Number 5 was plumbing and electrical work. Now we're also we're using a lot of CNG now. We've also added CNG retrofitting and maintenance to it. So, and these are areas we're training, and in all other areas as well, not limited to these 6. I just told you the top one: air conditioner, refrigeration and air conditioner repair, and all other things. And I haven't even spoken about what we're doing with areas of digital technology academy that will be training people, graduates from our universities, in area of software development methodologies, natural language processing, quantum computing, AI and machine learning, and things like that. We also have a carefully designed training that we're targeting people that are in final year at the universities, all graduates that are finished. We'll give them 6 to 8 months training online. We've finalized our contracting with Coursera and Pluralsight to deliver those training that were carefully curated to meet international and global standards. So that those kids, when they're done, they can take any of the certifying exams like AWS, Huawei, Google certification, and they can sit right in Nigeria and service any company anywhere in the world, in Hong Kong, in Singapore.
Is there a plan because getting trained and getting the certificate in Nigeria is not the end of the story.
No, this is not planned. These are things that have been worked out. The first set
No,
of
so
students
I'm asking, sir, after the training, then what?
After the training, we also, as part of the plan, and I'm going to answer that question in 2 ways. Beyond training these people in Tvet, the second thing is that we need to get them employed.
Exactly.
We're spending a lot of money. So we built a Tvet job mart now, job marketplace, an online platform that we're finalizing the procurement with World Bank, that we're building, where as these trainees are graduating, we're putting them on those portals. Labor recruiters, people, manufacturers can now go to those
portals. So like a portal where you connect
the job market platform.
Okay. How do people access that? Because, you know, sometimes when we have dignitaries like you on our shows and you itemize these beautiful ideas, it's news to a lot of Nigerians. How do they even get to know about it?
We're getting all this information out to the public.
How?
I'll tell you, the same way, we have several portals that we get information out to the public. When we start, and we do it in a proactive manner. We just don't wait till that, we build it up. When we open a Tvet portal, I told you 1.3 million people applied within 10 days. We had to close down. So we have a way of disseminating the information out. So this job market portal, once we finalize the building, and we do the pilot testing, the beta testing, and other testing, once we open it out, we disseminate the information. And then we also have these captive students already. They're being trained. Those information will be deployed to them. And also we know the users, the end product users, the manufacturers. We have their data. We're building a database of them, and we deliver this information to them. And now, I just told you about the Tvet, the DTA, the Digital Technology Academy. Beyond now, when we train these people, we will pay. Government will pay for their certification. Once you have AWS certification, Google certification, is that intermediate or advanced? You see, you're out market today. There are about 2.2 million vacancies worldwide in those areas that I've just mentioned. Software development methodology, proactive security that we call cyber security, natural language processing, quantum computing, AI and machine learning, and about UNESCO data, about 2.2 million vacancies. So once we get these kids well trained, and we're using Coursera, we've gotten instructors from Stanford and everything to help us design, carefully curated to meet the content. That's been done. We're just finalizing deployment.
Do we have any set of graduates yet from any of these programs?
No.
When can we expect?
No, the first set of cohort for the DTA, Digital Technology Academy, will happen in the first quarter of 2026. But people are training on at Tvet now. In the next 3 months, we'll have graduates. And by that time, the job market portal will be up. It's not just training them alone. Let me tell you something. This President Bola Ahmed Tinubu told us, this is not everything you do. As my minister, there has to be sustainability behind it. Government is a continuum. And you're talking about the collaborating with the governors. I'm telling you, with this Tvet, we are in sync. The schools, the federal technical colleges we rehabilitated. We also rehabilitated several state technical colleges. And I'll tell you, the skill training centers that we're using a lot of the state skill training centers. I can tell you, the other day, the governor of Kebbi State called me and said, "Oh, I finished these 3 skill training centers. When are you going to put students in?" Today, I can tell you, within 3 weeks, we have almost 1,000 students in those 3 training centers in Kebbi. It belongs to the government.
And sustainability beyond this administration, that's also one.
The sustainability will be there because it's there. The funding is there. I told you 5% of TETFON funding, the structure is there.
It's quite structured financially.
Financially structured and robustly.
It looks very, as I said,
in a robust manner.
It looks very beautiful. We'll begin to look out for these things that you said.
Please, I need you to.
Yes, because
especially the first set of the graduates,
yes.
to be good.
I can give you,
and I know we're going to get channels to get an invitation.
A training center for you to go with your crew and go and listen.
We don't mind.
Please,
we need to build from the vocational to maybe teachers and all of that. But if my research is correct, you went to Cardozo High School, right?
Cardozo High School.
Is that your school?
That's not my school.
Are you aware of Cardozo High School?
I'm not aware of Cardozo High School.
Because there are some schools that...
No, I'm not aware of Cardozo High School. No.
I wonder if the structure is coming up in some of the schools because we still see
the reason
some
I
of
was
those
referencing it
schools,
is because of some of the schools we see, people sitting on the ground. In fact, there was one we saw. I don't want to call the wrong state, so let me save save myself from that trouble.
Yeah.
Literally
People
embarrassing.
Under the tree.
Literally embarrassing. If you see the state of those schools, what is the, I almost want to say federal government, but I don't think federal government should do everything. So in collaboration with the state, what are you doing?
No, those are, like President would say, the federal government doesn't have any citizens. The citizens belong to the state, to the state governors, state government. Now that's what we do at federal level is because we have enormous technical resources, not financial per se, technical resources now to help the states, carry them along, and we've done that so well. We've collaborated so well with them. Now, with regards to now building, in fact, before we came, some states were not even assessing their UBEC grant. We had almost 240 billion naira sitting unutilized, matching grant. So what did we do? I met with the governors, I wrote to them, we realigned, we addressed all their issues. Within 7 months, they had assessed almost 160 billion of the 250 billion that was sitting there. And what did they use those funds for? To rehab the school, to build new schools, to put wash facilities, solar facilities, and ICT centers. And it's, you see, these are infrastructure decade that we inherited. But if you go to several, we are rehabbing an agenda for 2025, and a huge chunk of our UBEC funding for 2026 will be spent on schools rehabilitation and upgrades. We're not building.
Yes. I want to, because before race and forget them, we'll come back to this primary and secondary. University lecturers, I know that thanks that we've not had strike in a long while. When I did my analytics as to 26 years of since 1999, since the democracy, I think if you accumulate the number of times university has gone on, ASU has gone on strike, maybe over 4 years.
Yes.
200 days, 60 days, when you put it all together, 4 years. That is terrible.
That's
by any
full course.
Yes, that's about 4 years. So we're grateful it's not happening us, but that doesn't mean the issues are over. So I want you to speak to the issue of that 2009 agreement.
Okay.
I want you to speak to issues of their pay.
Okay.
I think we interviewed a lecturer, a professor, I stand to be corrected, whose salary, if I remember, is not up to 500,000 or 600. How can I go to school to that level? Yeah.
Jeffrey,
that is ludicrous.
Jeffrey, I think you're back in time. You're very futuristic, very advanced person. But this, you're very archaic. Let me now tell you.
So
let me tell you something.
Give us the updates.
I'll give you the update. What you said is very appalling. That our kids will go to universities or polytechnics or colleges of education for a 4-year course or 3-year course, and they'll be there for 6 years. That was one thing this president said, I will not tolerate. I will keep these children in school. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made this commitment. And when this president makes his promises, he doesn't make empty promises. He makes sure that his promises are fulfilled. And that's what we're saying. What you've just seen with schools staying, at tertiary institutions, staying in session for 2 years, it's not coincidence. It's what this president did. President brought forth all his political will to ensure that whatever we can do to keep this academic and non-academic staff happy, we will. And that's what we've done. We've finalized, I told you today, ASU members are happy. They're happy. I can tell you that. I have confidence.
2009 agreement.
No,
how much are professors
let me tell you something.
Away from what you told me then?
Let me say, give us by the 15th, on the 14th of January, we would have the official signing of those agreements. The 2009 agreement, we finalize it. Give this president all the credit. Agreement that was entered with ASU for 16 years, not operationalized. Today, I can tell you, I just give you a sneak preview, the academic staff members will get 40% increase on their salary from 2026. It's never happened before. This President Bola Ahmed Tinubu made it happen. And every single component of those agreements, we worked on it, we've agreed on everything, we'll have the official signing on the 14th of January.
So let's do the breaking news. According to the Minister of Education.
I don't want to preempt. That's not preempt.
No, you just said it.
Yeah. January 14, yeah. January 14, we'll sign the agreement, yes. Breaking news, yes.
Yes, breaking news is that in 2026, I don't want to put a time, 40% increase in the salary of all tertiary institution
academic staff.
Academic staff.
I can tell you that is academic.
I think
We need to, let me tell you something. We need to thank President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for this.
Can I stretch you for that? When will the pay start? When are you going to?
It will be effective from January 1, 2026. That's the effective date.
Okay.
People have worked so hard behind the scene for this.
Okay.
Thank you. All credits goes
to the president.
to president.
Because if it was a knock, it would go to the president.
Yes. And, no, beyond that, not beyond, let me tell you something.
Okay.
President was directly involved. He said, bring everything to me. And whenever we went, Mr. President, we want to talk about this, it will create the time on the schedule. That's the commitment you need from the president. That's when we know education is the bedrock of any society.
We were made to understand, and please, correct us if we're wrong, that one of the initiatives, one of the reasons for the student loan initiative was to put paid to strikes and all of those things. You may want to speak to that and among other things, but still talking about the student loan, what are the numbers saying? It sounds like technical trainings and vocational trainings get more attention because your numbers are saying that there has been 846,463 applications, and as at September 26, 2025, you have a little less than 600,000 students who have so far benefited from the loan scheme.
Okay.
But your numbers also say that the technical, training initiative is getting a lot more traction.
Look, I just want people to see this. These are the promises the president made. And look at his scorecard. 9. The president has delivered on 8 out of those 9. The only one that we haven't really delivered was school feeding, but we finally, because we moved away, and I'm coming to your question now, we moved away from the old way of doing things, where when government says, I'm doing school feeding, they start buying rice, buying kitchen utensils, employing cooks. It didn't work. Previous government had spent trillions on school feeding, was a disaster. So what we're doing now is to use technology for school feeding and link that school feeding to improve attendance in school. So we're now going to be paying mothers to make meals for their children. We're building that technology platform. And that's what this president says is the enemy of corruption is technology. If you want to and we're doing it in such a way that it will be sustainable. That's the only way. We haven't started that school feeding.
I don't think I understand what you mean by mothers being paid to make meals.
I'm trying to optimize my time, and I'm coming to the near phone thing. Previously with school feeding program, it was government that cooked.
Yes.
Poor quality food and this and this. So what we've now done is that we will now enroll these students, the ones that have NIN and the ones that don't have, we use biometric on the NIN of their mothers. We've modeled the amount of money per meal. I think it came out to about 400 naira or 450. So if you figure out 20 school days in a month, it will come to about 15,000. So it's a form of conditional cash transfer. First of every month, the mother will get that 15,000. They'll cook nutritious meal that we're designing with Ministry of Health. The kids will bring that cooked meal to school.
Is there somebody checking the children?
Of course, they're bringing the cooked meal to the school. The teacher will check. So, and we also will link it to attendance, that the kids must attend at least 70 percentage. We haven't finalized that. And boom, next month, and the attendance will all be digital. Will be boom, biometric scanning, boom, we know. By first day of every month, we know your attendance.
And I guess that will qualify for the next month.
Yes.
Oh, that sounds good.
That's it. And in this, and we've worked with the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry. We're collaborating together to do this.
So this is more like clocking in.
Clocking in, yes. And then they will get paid. And guess what? There'll also be collateral benefit. Or even some of the kids that are not in school, the mother can even get some of the part of the meal to give to them. So the way we've designed it will be sustainable. So if you look at these 9 priority areas, we've delivered on 8. If the school feeding, we will deliver within the next year. Now with NEFund, this president said, I will make access. Lack of money should not stop any child from going to school. You've seen kids that passed the exam, got 370 in JAM, wanted to read medicine because of money. They can't go. That's gone forever. This president has worked within the first 6 months of his administration to get the NEF Fund Act passed, and the president it's just not passing act. He found money to fund it within the first year, and subsequently now, NEF Fund is robustly funded. For 2025, President gave us 280 billion for NEF Fund. Today, I can tell you the most recent data.
Yes, give us
over almost 800,000 students are benefiting from NEF Fund today. We spent, in 2025 alone, we spent more than 20 billion. So for students out there, access should never be an issue. So fund to go to school should never be an issue. You just apply, you apply digitally, you get your, we're linked to all the tertiary institutions, you get your approval, and then you get your money. You get, and let me tell you again, we're paying the entire fee, and we structured NEF Fund. Now the payment. We sat with all the vice chancellors, the rectors of polytechnics and provosts. We said, we don't, when President said, I'll give loan to fund your school, we don't want any hidden fee. Before, in the first year, students were being made to pay faculty fees and everything. We rolled up every single fee, even for their field visit. We rolled it into that fee that NEF Fund will pay. So today, if you're a beneficiary of NEF Fund, you're not meant to pay anything, zero.
And I know there
and then we're also giving you monthly stipend.
I know there was also the talks of, because the government has intervened, some school fees being hiked. I know that was a conversation at the time.
When the outcry came, we sat down. We all sat down with all the head of institutions, with MD of NEF Fund, amazing human being. We all sat down. We fixed the problem. So we standardized the problem. We fixed the problem and we standardized the entire process. And what we've also done is that we're working on finalizing cost of living, and so based on the areas in which universities are located. Obviously, University of Lagos, there's some more cost because of the urban area compared to a university in the further part of the part of the country.
I know that 846,463. They are potential.
That was September data. Yes. More current data, almost 780,000 students are benefiting.
Okay, these are potential debtors to the government in the next 5 to 10 years.
No. Let me tell you something. But what the government said is that you will not pay back until you have a job.
We're saying the same thing. We're saying the same thing. They are potential debtors. They are owing government.
Well, go to school
in the long run.
No, don't worry about it. Go to school first. Become a lawyer first. Become a doctor first. Become a lawyer, engineer first.
No problem.
And then figure out what you're going to deal with. This is
no, it's not. This is one initiative.
If you went to school in the US now,
this is one initiative
for medical school,
this is one initiative.
At the end of the day, you're done. In medical, you'll be on the hook for almost $650,000 US.
I think this is one thing that is everybody, literally, even opposition, perhaps has commended government for. Yes. Although some people are pushing for entire grants, not a loan, but for sustainability, perhaps maybe tomorrow it will be grant. But maybe as we begin to coast home. If we sit here with you on December 31st,
yes,
2026, if we can catch you, because all of you will be all over the place trying to campaign, what should we be expecting from the Minister of Education to say, we made this promise, and today is December 31st, 2026, that's futuristic now, this is what we've done.
To building on what we've done, it has to be accretive. A Tvet agenda will continue. Would have enrolled more students, would have trained more students, more citizens. They will have gainful employment. We would have significant reduction of people coming from out of the country to come and service our our manufacturers here. Manufacturers will be happy that they have skilled manpower to support. More will continue to open more access to students that want to go to tertiary institution. Would have done, by end of next year, would have significant infrastructure improvement at the foundational education level, at primary school, at junior secondary school. We've also trained 1 million teachers. We're focusing heavily on teacher training as well. As part of what we're doing, what I haven't even spoken to you about is about Nigeria education data infrastructure. We've moved all our annual school census digitally. The first in this year, the 2026, those data will be collected digitally. It's never happened before in the history of this country. I can sit, any governor can sit at his office. I know the number of primary schools in his state, dive down to the ward, to the senatorial district, to the ward, and to that school. No, he will know the number of students, male, female, the kind of, if they have adequate classrooms, if they have enough watch facilities, if they have an ICT centers. We've built that technology platform now. We have 21 states
all right,
loaded
Minister,
already.
because we're almost out of time, but
yes.
I really need for you to help explain this integrating of the junior and senior secondary. What's that about? What are we looking forward to?
We're not integrating it still. We have, what we're trying to do is to make, we've passed the policy at the National Council of Education. We're now moving from 9 years of continuous education to 12 years of continuing education. So we now have, rather than now saying, okay, the government says 9 years of continuous free education, but there's no way we can make, we can't just change it by fiat, that 12 years of continuous free education. So we've now said 12 years of continuous education. We're removing the transition, the problem from transiting from junior secondary to senior secondary school, because that's a global standard. How well can you educate? How much education could you give somebody for 9 years? So we're moving to 12 years of continuous education.
But it's still going to be JSS1, JSS2,
and JSS1,
and SS1 and SS3.
Yes.
Oh.
They say there's still three. On the foundational school level and the secondary, you have 6 years of primary school, 3 years of junior secondary schooling, and 3 years of senior secondary schooling.
All right, Honorable Minister, we really have to thank you so much for your time. We covered a whole lot of ground right there. We really appreciate.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to not having children kidnapped
They won't be
again.
Yeah,
it's
all covered now, according to the minister.
Salaries of,
it's all covered.
It's all covered.
Don't worry,
academic
Jeffrey.
students,
Don't worry,
academic
Jeffrey.
staff increased by 40%.
Yeah,
Don't worry, Jeffrey.
I don't want to hold you.
It's all covered.
I'm just reminding you what
You
I
have a proactive president. You have a proactive president that doesn't joke with education.
This time next year, God's grace, and he's going to come with his slides and ticking all of those boxes. I mean, let's have faith. Let's have faith. But thank you so much, Honorable
These are
Minister.
things that are, it's not about having faith. These are faith.
This
These are
is-
things
this
that
is
are happening
reality
already.
Okay, all right.
Go to these schools and fact check us.
All right, Honorable
Yeah.
Minister Lausa, thank you so much for your time and the work you're doing. And we certainly would hope that we will have you back here, God keeping us alive and well, this time next year.
Thank you, and wishing you the best in the new year.
Happy New Year in
2026. Thank
advance.
you.